A mysterious object burned on a BHP mine site 30 kilometres east of Newman. Serendipitous staff promptly dialling 000 yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. That looks like a fuel tank from a rocket.
Investigators confirming the carbon fibre waste is not from a commercial aircraft. Space agencies often dropping debris into the atmosphere.
It is on purpose that this bit of rocket body has landed back, but it could just be the way it's been tumbling that piece has been able to survive.
Police say it's too early to confirm its origin.
Oh, look, we've been told that it could take weeks and months.
Western Australia is no stranger to space junk. The Australian Space Agency says once it works out where this recent wreck has come from, it'll arrange to send it back to its owner.
The Australian Space Agency is still investigating the source of yesterday's discovery. It says there's no threat to public safety.
A flaming chunk of suspected space junk has crash-landed in WA's outback. Stunned workers at a Pilbara mine site found the mysterious item burning and alerted emergency services.
This is the moment police in WA, with their body cams rolling, approached the giant chunk of metal and carbon fibre which was found on a remote road near a mine site close to the town of Newman. It was initially spotted still flaming hot by local miners.
Certainly not something we deal with every day. I punched a photo into artificial intelligence, so the AI indicated it was possibly space debris re-entry, and that appears to be where we're at.
It's really a small probability that we will see all of these anomalies. I'm not saying it's necessarily alien tech, but I do recommend that you take your vacation early rather than later, because our lives
too late. I knew Avi was going to get me with some math before we were.
Might not be approved.
And then he threw that equation at me, and my brain just about exploded. Avi, we got to go real quick. Is there a date we should know, yes or no, on this, or what it is?
Yeah, I believe that by January we should have a good idea about the nature of the object.
Love having you here, Avi Loeb. You're the man.
Harvard professor Avi Loeb.
Thank you, sir.
It. Big things to come. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you again in January, hopefully.
Thank you.
Oh, that was a good sound.
Right.
If we're still here, and
yes.
all is well.
I'm doing great. A lot of things are happening, and I should get to them. Yeah.
Yes, if we could.
What's the latest, sir? Tell us what's going on.
Well, the International Asteroid Warning System Organization decided to monitor 3i Atlas between November 27th and January 27th with a high cadence, coordinating observations throughout the globe. And that is a very positive development because I recommended it. This is an organization that is associated with the United Nations, and I wrote a white paper that I submitted to the United Nations a couple of weeks ago, saying that we should examine interstellar objects that could be a potential threat to Earth, and it would be good to get as much data as possible to check whether the object maneuvers in any suspicious way, or perhaps releases mini probes that may arrive at planets like the Earth. And so I'm very glad that data will be collected so we can figure out the nature of this object. In addition, we have additional data that was reported just over the month of September. It was imaged. The object was imaged, and we could see that the previous anti-tail, that was a jet of glow that was pointed towards the sun, 10 times longer than it is wide, first identified clearly by the Hubble Space Telescope on July 21st. It was pointing in the opposite direction to cometary tails that are pushed away from the sun, usually by the radiation pressure and the wind from the sun. This one was a jet pointed towards the sun. It wasn't clear what its nature is, and it appeared during July and August. And then in September, we started seeing, based on new data, the tail, the anti-tail, the jet towards the sun, changing direction away from the sun. So the question is why? And of course, one possibility is that the sun-facing side is releasing ices that evaporate, so they never get to live long enough, those fragments of ice, in order to be pushed behind the object the way that we find in comets. But somehow, as the object got closer to the sun, the nature of the outflow coming off it changed, and that would be a natural origin for that. But there is also a possibility, if you imagine the gases coming out of 3I Atlas having a technological origin, perhaps the object is preparing to do some kind of a maneuver and changes the outflow. I mean, at the moment, obviously, it would be most natural to assume that it's a comet of natural origin, but we should keep our eyes and check what it does. And just before that that image was released, or several images were released over the month of September, there was an image from August showing clearly an anti-tail that is pointed towards the sun. So this happened recently. And we are still waiting for an image from the highest resolution image that we can get from the high-rise camera on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter that observed the object when it was closest to Mars. It was within 30 million kilometers from Mars on October 2nd, 2025. And the claim is because of the government shutdown, NASA is unable to release those images, which I find surprising because, the principal investigator of that camera, is a professor at the University of Arizona. There should have been a release of the data to the scientific community, irrespective of whether the communications office of NASA is active or not. This is a matter of science, not of public relations. And in fact, it's not good for public relations because the European Space Agency released an inferior data set from a camera they had that was only 13.5 centimeters in diameter, whereas the high-rise camera is 50 centimeters in diameter. So the high-rise image is supposed to give us the crispiest image of 3I Atlas with a pixel resolution of 30 kilometers, and that is better by a factor of 3 than the image we received from the Hubble Space Telescope, for example. So I'm really very eager to see it, but we have to wait.
Avi, real quick, if we could talk about a little more with where the object is in relation to, it's almost at the point of reaching its closest point to the sun. And when that date happens, do you have any advice for folks about, what they need to plan on doing? I think that would be good.
Yeah, so on October 21st, that was a couple of days ago, it was in solar conjunction relative to Earth, meaning exactly on the opposite side of the sun. So if you were looking at the sky that day and seeing the sun up there, you can imagine 3I Atlas just behind it, perfectly behind it, so we can't observe it for sure. And we can't observe it throughout the month of October, actually, because it's so close to the sun, perhaps for a reason. If it was trying to avoid us noticing that it releases mini probes or doing some maneuver, that would be the perfect time.
A rare green glowing comet is going to make its closest approach to the Earth next Tuesday. And although it'll be about 55 million miles away, it may be visible as a soft green glow up in the western sky. Should happen sometime right after sunset. For a better look, of course, sky watchers, you may want to have binoculars or a telescope in an area away from all the city lights. And don't blink. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see the green comet. It's not expected to return to Earth for another 1,000 years, but KTLA will be there.
The night sky is putting on a show this week, including a meteor shower and a rare double comet encounter.
Now, the main event. 2 different comets will be racing across the sky. Starting with Comet Lemon, which was named after the Arizona Observatory who discovered it earlier this year, and will have a soft green glow.
hopefully about a magnitude of 4, which is visible to the naked eye. So it's relatively bright. And in fact, it's going to reach its closest approach to Earth starting October 21st.
So it can be seen during the late evening just above the horizon. Look north, northwest, and not too far from the Big Dipper just after sunset.
In the northern area, it's kind of like near the Big Dipper / Ursa Major constellation. Early in the evening and early in the morning, because we're now getting into the point where the Big Dipper starts going below the horizon.
Now, the second comet, Comet Swan, will be fainter, farther away, and more difficult to see.
It is going to be faint. It has a magnitude of 5/6, so it's on the little fainter side.
So the Orionid meteor shower, Comet Lemon and Comet Swan will all be visible the next few evenings and overnights, most to the naked eye.